Okay, viewers. I got this comment from somebody. Okay, they said Samuel Ajayi Crowther translated the Bible, English Bible, to Igbo. They said Samuel Ajayi Crowther translated the English Bible to Igbo. I want to correct this impression. Of course, we know the reason why I am here is just to put the facts straight. Okay, Samuel Ajayi Crowther was not the one that translated English Bible to Igbo. Samuel Ajayi Crowther was not the one who translated English Bible to Igbo. It was Samuel Jones. Samuel Jones was the translator. Samuel Jones was the translator, and he wasn't a Yoruba man. Samuel Ajayi Crowther only compiled the works of Samuel Jones. He only compiled the works of Samuel Jones. Now, with all due respect, Samuel Ajayi Crowther is one of the few Africans who, the early Africans that imparted greatly. Okay, he himself, he was in the area of religion. Okay, and the lives of Oledu Ikwuano was in the areas of history and freedom. Okay, now I established that Oledu Ikwuano lived and died in the 18th century. Samuel Ajayi Crowther was born in the 19th century. Now, it is no doubt that there were other Africans who were also educated alongside Oledu. There are some other Africans that existed and were educated in the 18th century. No doubt about that. But the thing is that most of them were adopted by the royal families and they enjoyed the royal treatment. Okay, and with that, we cannot actually say that those who adopted them were not the ones who fathered them. But that is a story for another day. Okay, now, Oledu Ikwuano was the first African slave to buy his freedom. He was also the first man to begin the debate for the abolition of slave trade. He was the one that started the debate for the abolition of slave trade. That is to say, your fathers might still have remained in slavery by now, if not for his effort. Okay? Now, I want to make something straight. Africa, we had our own form of education. Okay, life began in Africa, education began in Africa, everything, civilization, development began in Africa. This is a true and fact, okay? Now, that is why in my other video, I used Western education, okay? Western education, that is to say, talking about the British, the Greek, the Europeans, okay? So that was why I used Western education, because the lives of Aristotle, Socrates, and what have you, the old Greek philosophers all learned from Africa. They came to Africa to learn. They all came to Africa to learn. So we had our own form of education. Life began in Africa. Education, wisdom began in Africa. That's the truth. Okay, so that is why I used Western education. Okay, so what Samuel Ajayi Crowther did was to compile the works of Samuel Jones. It was Samuel Jones who translated English to Igbo. Now, it's not that there were no Igbos to do that, because as of then, Oledu Ikwuano has already existed and died. And he wrote books. He also wrote his autobiography. Okay, these are great men, scholars. There were some other Igbos as well who would have also done it. But I think they didn't consider it as an option, as something relevant. Okay, because talking about religion, religion is the greatest problem we have as a people. Religion is the greatest problem we have as Africans. Okay, it is easy for them to translate the Bible to our indigenous languages like Igbo, Yoruba, Hausa, Ewe, Twi, and all that. But it is difficult for them to translate physics textbooks, chemistry textbooks, biology textbooks, geography and all that. It's difficult for them to translate it to our own indigenous languages. So I think the Igbo man didn't consider that as an option, as something relevant. That was why he left it. And that translation to Igbo was actually what captured the Igbos. That has been the greatest problem the Igbos had. That was what the Europeans used to cage the Igbos. That was how they got the Igbos. It was through religion. So the translation of the Bible from English to Igbo didn't make any good for an Igbo man or for Africa, because religion has been a tool of slavery, neocolonialism. So that is just how it is. So on this note, I will end this video. Thank you very much.